CHR Region 10, Ms. Ruby Exceli Banal. We also have from the Luna Legal Resource Center, the OIC, Ms. Digna Pirote. Hello, I'm Buntag. The Executive Director of Filipina Legal Resources Center, Dr. Isabelita Solamo Antonio, otherwise known as Ms. Bing. We also have a Special Investigator 2 of CHR 10, Ms. Fatima Escarilla. Sorry, CHR Region 11. Yung aking reading glasses, siguro kailangan ng palitan. JCI member and also incoming president for 2014, JCI Duwaling, Ms. Rosa Maria Cristina Manuel. From SILDAP, Incorporated, Ms. Melba Relon. Thank you for coming. We also have from the Sisters of Charity of St. Charles Borromeo, Mission Coordinator Member, Sister Lagunsad, Crescencia Lagunsad. Welcome po. We have Professor Elena Damaso, Ms. Bing. Are you here already? She arrived last night. Okay, traveling from across the seas, our sisters and brothers from different countries in Southeast Asia. From Timor-Leste, Ms. Cristina Fernandez. From Vietnam, Ms. Don Mai Hong. I suppose also first-timers in Davao, many of you. Yes, okay. We also have Ms. Ketsara Nanponyong from the Regional Office of UN Women. We fondly call her Kate, Ms. Kate. Okay, from the Lao PDR, we have Ms. Kemphet Paukamkio. My pronunciation is still very bad. From the Regional Office of UN Women based in Thailand, Ms. Pimvadi Geokiria or Bern. Bern is easier to pronounce. Also first-timers in Davao, I think. From Cambodia, Mr. Soto Nem. From Laos, also the Lao PDR, Ms. Sivongse Chang, Mr. Sivongse Chang Pit Tikun. I have known my colleagues for a couple of years, but I still cannot pronounce their names. Really bad of me. From Vietnam, Ms. Thuy Thi Nguyen. Also from Cambodia, Mr. Vet Vorn. We are expecting some more people to coming tonight, so we can acknowledge them when they get back. Oh, Ms. Supatra, where are you in the list? Our resource person whom we will, whom we will introduce later, more substantively in the afternoon, she will be a speaker from Thailand, from the CEDAW office in Thailand. Have I missed anyone? Oh my, Miss, where are your names? Attorney Evelyn, Miss, okay. Miss Socorro Reyes, whom we will also introduce more substantively later. She is a speaker, wearing many hats. Used to head the Asia Pacific desk of UNIFEM and then UN Women, but also herself a very strong women's human rights advocate, also connected with the Center for Legislative Development International, mentor of many women's rights advocates. More on SOC later. Attorney Evelyn Ursua, whom we will also introduce more substantively later, also wearing many hats. Friend, mentor, comrade, many, and founder of the Women's Legal and one of the founders of the Women's Legal and Human Rights Bureau. And of course, Miss Irene Morada Santiago, whom I will be introducing shortly. Miss Patmi, can we request all our sisters and brothers from the Mindanao Commission on Women to please stand up? We need to know you all. Oh my, I'm low. There was another set of lists of resource persons. Of course, the Emeline Versosa herself from the Philippine Commission on Women. I will. Tricia Mendoza from the UN Women Philippine Project Office. And of course, our beloved Attorney Liza Alamia, all the way from Cotabato, whom we will also introduce more substantively later. Have I covered everybody? Anyone that I missed? Please stand up for. Okay, my goodness. Did you say? Could you please introduce yourself? Ampi, would you like to pass the mic? Okay, yes, thank you. Your okay, of course, yes, all the way from Quezon City, I think. Channel 5, oo nga, naku. I'm sorry po. Wala na yata, oo, marami kaming mga typo error. Salamat po sa inyong Okay. Lorna, is that you? Yes, Miss Lorna. I think my contact lens and my glasses. Miss Lorna Mandin from the Office of the Mayor. We will also introduce her later. Pwede pong maki-introduce. We have a microphone.
Hello, good morning, ma'am. I am Lucena Pino. I came from Kumbal. Yes. I am the tribal women's representative. I'm a chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, your name was there, pero wala pa yung signature, so hindi ko pa na. Miss, anyone else? We are live streaming, so we better introduce. Yes, can we? Miss Ami Boho.
Good morning. I'm Ami Boho from Central Mindanao University.
Welcome sa atin. Another big round of applause for all of us. Okay. Now is the moment to call on the chair and emerita of the Mindanao Commission on Women. She has a very long CV, but for now I will focus on her most current achievement. Aside from being excited from social media, Miss Irene M. Santiago will be traveling to Thailand next week to receive the NPeace Awards, one of the role models for peace for the Philippines. More on Miss Inday later.
Thank you, Jeannie. Introductions are more fun in the Philippines. Okay, so it is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you here for this really important workshop. It is very rarely that we have such a diverse audience, but we're talking about diversity. So we are, in fact, a reflection of what we are going to be talking about. So welcome to everybody from the UN Women Regional Office in Asia Pacific and all the national coordinators who are here from Timor-Leste, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Myanmar, of course, Philippines, and Laos. People I haven't seen for a while who are now seen as mentors, and remember the days when we were the young ones. But I'd also particularly like to welcome the Moro women. There are very many of those groups now. And also the group that has been set up by the indigenous women, the IP women, called Baba Ihon. So they're all here as well. So today, I have the pleasure of welcoming you, but tomorrow, I will have a greater pleasure of welcoming you to my home. So whoever it is who's not staying till tomorrow, you will miss something, okay? It is a house on a hill, and it has the most beautiful view of Davao City. And we have to show people that we know human rights, we know women's human rights, but we also know how to party. So tomorrow is that. We are very happy, Mindanao Commission on Women is very happy to have this opportunity to partner with the UN Women again. We've had several of these. Deepa has already told you how many times UN Women has been here. And I think each time this has been in partnership with us. And so particularly feeling like family. Sok and I particularly feel like family. Yeah, don't you? Because we're all UNIFEM hands, we're the ones. You transformed to UN Women, didn't you? I didn't. I went just UNIFEM. So Sok had a job that I had before her. So the two of us, or there are two exes of UNIFEM here. So this is fun because it means that we've done international work, but we came back. So Sol is back to her Center for Legislative Development. I've been back since 1996, and I thought all I was ever going to do was Mindanao work, because I'd done international work. But these are all interconnected. So that's why you do local work, you do international work as well. So we're very happy that that kind of diversity is here. And now a little bit about Mindanao Commission on Women. Despite its grand title, Miss Emeline Versosa, despite its grand title, the Mindanao Commission on Women is not a branch of the Philippine Commission on Women. The Mindanao Commission on Women, in fact, was there before there was a Philippine Commission on Women. Because the PCW was the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women, a long thing that somebody in the Marcos administration thought of. So that was the name. And then it became Philippine Commission on Women when the Magna Carta of women was passed. So we already had a name and we couldn't change it. So now I always say that a Mindanao Commission on Women is an NGO, and because why can't people have people's commissions? Why is it that only the government can have a commission? So we are a people's commission, and it's called Mindanao Commission on Women. We were established in 2001 to influence public policy and public opinion. And we run 3 programs on peace and multiculturalism, which is the biggest one, poverty reduction, and politics and governance, and all 3 are really interrelated. We have a grassroots movement, and it's called Mothers for Peace. It really enables us to have the kind of following that enables us to influence public policy. We have 21 area core groups all over Mindanao. So Celia is a director, so is Joy, so is Nida, Ami, who else? These are the area directors. They act like local boards, so they have their own local issues that they address. But together, collectively, we can work on Mindanao-wide issues as well as national issues. So we'd like to think that we are an agile organization that way. Right now, we have initiated and we're part of the Women's Peace Table. The Women's Peace Table is the structure that we have created to create a national peace constituency. So it's national, it's just not Mindanao. It's a peace constituency nationally. The way it's going to be structured is that there's a Women's Peace Table in every congressional district in this country in order to lobby the Congress and the Senate to pass the Bangsamoro Basic Law as transmitted to it by the Transition Commission. They will not monkey around with it, in other words. So we'll have to, we made sure that one way to make sure that that doesn't happen, changing the draft or whatever, is that we're forming women's peace tables nationally. We also started a women's peace fund right after the framework agreement was passed last year, October 15, last year, because we believe that the best way to prevent a relapse into violence is to put money in the hands of women. And so that continues to be our advocacy because the funds are not big enough. And I've always said that in order for that to have any kind of impact, money has to be, the funds have to be big enough and fast enough. Okay, so that's still one of our advocacies. I'd like to end here since you have a whole morning and you're going to listen to me again in a few minutes. But thank you for being here. We're very, very happy to host this workshop. And as Filipinos, we're very serious especially during the day. But tonight we'll have a welcome dinner and we have some music and all that. So I think a lot of things will come out of here precisely because of the kind of people that have been invited to this workshop. So I hope you feel as I do that we are the movers and the shakers in this area. And so while we have all these substantive discussions, we can also have our networking, which is really part of why we are going to be effective. Okay, welcome again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Inday. The next person I would like to call on who will give us our message from our partner, our sponsor, word from the sponsor. Also has a long history. She's very humble and modest about it, but she has a long history of advocacy for women's rights. She was with the Philippine Commission on Women before she joined CIDA. She continued on in CIDA, a Canadian Development Agency. For many of us, it has already transformed to another name. But also on behalf of CIDA, she chairs the ODA GAD network, which is how we call ourselves. This is the official development aid, the gender and development network, a network of GAD focal points of the different international development agencies present in the Philippines. And in the brief time that she's chaired this network, I have seen the work grow very well. Ms. Myrna Harillas will also speak a little bit about CIDA and its transformation into the DFAT-D and give greetings to us on behalf of the DFAT-D. Ms. Myrna, let's welcome Ms. Myrna Harillas.
Thank you, Jeannie. Maayong buntag, tama? Magandang umaga, good morning everyone. First, perhaps I'd just like to add my own personal welcome to the whole regional team of the Southeast Asia Regional Program from the 7 countries. Welcome to Davao and to the Philippines. Personally also, I'm very happy to be here because, for meeting friends from way back. It's good to meet friends like Ami Boho, whom I met when I was still a younger Mirna with the Philippine Commission on Women, Bing, and other friends from Davao. But I'm sorry that I will miss the partying tonight and tomorrow at Indai's. First, I would like to thank the organizers, the UN Women and the Mindanao Commission on Women, for inviting the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development, and you will note that I do not refer to ourselves now as SIDA, because 3 agencies of government of Canada have merged into just one, and that's the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development, Canada. Kaya lang, medyo dapat hindi ganun yung sa logo. Dapat ang nakalagay na lang doon is Government of Canada and then the French translation. It should not be the DFAT that is there in the logo. But anyway, having said that, and so we are now referred to as the development section in the Embassy of Canada in Manila. I think there are several countries, donor countries that are going the same route, no? Like merging. I think for ano yan tawag cost cutting. I think the Australians are following suit, like merging the development section with the foreign affairs. I would like to congratulate the 2 agencies, the UN Women and the Mindanao Commission on Women, for having organized this workshop on improving women's human rights in Mindanao. I think the issues around this have always been very significant and important, but more than ever, this has gained significance given the current Mindanao context. Donors like us are asking, how is women's human rights figuring in the dialogues around the framework agreement on the Bangsamoro? Also, how could the new Bangsamoro autonomous political entity be able to be an instrument for improving the human rights of women in Mindanao? In the region, Canada has been a long-standing partner of the UN Women in promoting and advancing gender equality and women's empowerment. And as we heard from Ms. Deepa earlier, the government of Canada has been in partnership with the UN Women starting in early 2004 for the earlier phase of the CEDAW Southeast Asia program. And I know that tomorrow in your day 2 of the program, you will hear a more elaborate description of the program, which will be ongoing until 2015. In the Philippines, Canada's international development strategy is focused on achieving economic growth, sustainable economic growth. And this is, as you will note, very much aligned with the government's sustainable and inclusive development. And we do this by improving the investment climate or the enabling environment for investment, as well as advancing the economic opportunities for poor women and men. And within this focus, the Government of Canada considers women's economic empowerment as a critical component of its program in the Philippines. Hence, we have an ongoing partnership with the Philippine Commission on Women, with Mien here, who will, I think, talk about it this afternoon, on women's economic empowerment, and we continue to be in discussion with the government for a potential sequel to the Great Women Project. In addition, if I'm not mistaken, we've had small partnerships with the Mindanao Commission in the past. And through what Jeannie has already mentioned about the Official Development Assistance Gender and Development Network, which is known for short as the ODA-GAD, The development community is updated on the good work that the Mindanao Commission on Women does for women and on peace and development in general through your cooperation with other development partners such as the Australians, AusAid, and the UNDP, among others. Currently, too, Canada, as mentioned again by Jeannie, chairs or convenes the ODA GAD network, a network of development partners, including the multilateral agencies such as the ADB and the World Bank, and bilateral agencies such as the United States, Australia, the European Commission, Germany, and Spain. And we seek to coordinate and harmonize our efforts among ourselves and with the government, which is represented in the network by the Philippine Commission on Women and the NEDA. I say this to highlight the continuing support and commitment of the donor community to women's empowerment and gender equality. I say this too as my way of offering the network, the ODA GAD network, as a venue for policy dialogue and donor coordination. For example, perhaps to harmonize donors' efforts for improving the women's human rights in Mindanao. As we all know, CEDAW and the Magna Carta of Women, which localized the CEDAW in the country, serve as the legal framework against which we compare our successes and strides to gain for women equality with men in all fronts. And as these two main documents show, gender equality and women's empowerment issues are in all sectors and in all development undertakings, all the more that there is need to identify strategic areas around which partnerships and collaboration can be strengthened, as indeed there is no other way because the job is just too huge. The UN Women's strategic and programmatic approach to Mindanao, which is going to be a focus of this two-day workshop, should be an excellent point of convergence in further strengthening partnership and collaboration. Canada is very pleased to note that through the UN Women, it is able to support development in Mindanao towards the longer-term development needs arising from the framework agreement on the Bangsamoro. In addition, let me just add two other things that the government of Canada is doing in support of development efforts in Mindanao. First, Canada is also supporting the Mindanao Trust Fund, which is led by the World Bank. And the fund focuses primarily on supporting community-driven reconstruction and development projects in conflict-affected communities, and building the capacity and accountability of state and non-state institutions such as the BDA, as well as civil society organizations, many of which are represented here in this two-day workshop. Secondly, Canada has just approved the deployment of a Canadian former Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP for short, a senior commissioner of the RCMP, to act as the chair of the Independent Commission on Policing, the work of which will inform the drafting of the Bangsamoro Basic Law and the creation of a police force in the Bangsamoro. So that is a main thing for us, and we are very pleased to be able to do this in support of the efforts. Today, as the workshop program shows, the UN Women and its government, private sector, and NGO partners have some very good practices to share, and I hope will be expanded and adapted as needed to ensure that the women in Mindanao will not be left behind as the country moves forward. So in closing, I would just like to say that the government of Canada, through its official development assistance program, remains very highly committed to supporting gender equality and women's economic empowerment, or women's empowerment in general, not only in the Philippines but also in the region. So maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang kababaihan ng Mindanao.
Mabuhay ka, Miss Mirna. For our friends from other Southeast Asian countries, that's another Filipino word to add to your vocabulary. Mabuhay. Mabuhay, Miles. Mabuhay means long live. May you, we say always, Mabuhay. Shall we say together, mabuhay? Thank you. Ms. Myrna already gave us very substantive questions to discuss in the next few hours. She has already started to talk about the context in Mindanao and especially referred to developments in the Bangsamoro. And that is a very good preparation for us to move on to the other sessions. But before we do that, we would like to give you 15 minutes break. The snacks are served on the tables, but the 15 minutes will allow you to stretch or settle down and allow our speakers also to have a chance to sample the snacks before we move on to the next. Okay, so let's start on time. After 15 minutes, we will begin again the session. So, yung live streaming siguro pwede na rin i-off. Thank you.
And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But they're really saying, I love you. I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see trees that are green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people